So, and again, you each have different stories and different reasons why you're involved in racial profiling in Rhode Island, but help us with the facts because, again, we've got our personal stories and then we know that there are some facts. Some things that have been researched, and Franny, if you need to jump into, there are facts, there are things that have been researched, there are numbers, there are statistics, and I've got a couple here as cheat sheets, but, let's hear from you guys.
Well, I mean, one of the things that the woman in the video who you may have just heard, her name is Anna Moniz John, and she's been involved in the campaign for a really long time. She's an amazing, amazing community leader. But anyway, she mentioned one of I think the most salient and important facts for us in the campaign, which is that the study by Northeastern University, which showed that people of color, when driving, are much more likely to be stopped than white drivers, but when stopped are less likely to be found with contraband, which, meaning drugs, weapons, other illegal items on their person. So it's not even, the perception that you can say like, oh, sure, maybe minority drivers are more likely to be stopped, but the assumption is always that there's a reason for that. And I think the second part of that statistic, that they're less likely to be found with contraband, is something that's very important for people to understand. Another fact that I actually just found out today, which I think is glaringly obvious, is that in Narragansett, so the bill that we're trying to pass would require police officers to do some pretty basic documentation when stopping and pulling over drivers. In Narragansett, where those measures were taken up voluntarily, racial disparities in stops dropped to pretty much zero. So wow. It's effective legislation. It works. It's simple. It's about documentation. It's about saying when you pull someone over, like, have a reason to pull them over and prove that there's a legitimate reason. Once that happens, then it's much more effective. You stop wasting so much time pulling over people who look suspicious to you and spend a lot more time focusing on the behavioral probable causes that would actually help you keep a community safe, so.
And one thing that you bring up, again, is that with this Narragansett example, it stopped in terms of all sort of racial disparities. And, one thing I put today in my blog post was like, look, I celebrate African American History Month, Black History Month, like, every minute, every second I breathe, right? So, like, I'm not really concerned about that. There is this kind of perception, right? Driving while black. There is this perception that we know who's being racially profiled. It's black and Latinos, right? The thing about having you folks here on the show, PrYSM, is that your organization is primarily serving and or was founded in part to specifically serve the Southeast Asian community. So this isn't just about driving while black, is it? Sangress, I mean, you were talking about some of your friends, and not to put you on the spot, but we don't have a TV camera and stuff. Like, you're our Southeast Asian rep right now.
Yeah, I'm Asian. I'm Hmong, and well, it's not only Hispanics or blacks, it's Asians too. Because in West End of Providence, there would be some cops who drive up to people's porches and search their houses or just question them or frisk them, which is searching. And it's a problem with Southeast Asian youth too.
And one of the things we were discussing off air, I have a copy here of a report that I could share something new with you guys. So it's called For Justice and Love, the Quality of Life for Southeast Asian Youth, which is a report that was published by the Providence Youth Student Movement by PrYSM a couple years ago. And I'm actually one of several authors who wrote this report and who did either some of the research or, reviewed the research that people like you guys, youth out in the field did, and just helped to weave the story together. And so I brought this, and I was just looking at one of the studies and one of the surveys that PrYSM did several years ago, and some of the facts that your organization, again, we're talking about state data, we're talking about a college's, data, and then we're talking about PrYSM's data. And so there's a table that says percentages of Southeast Asian youth who have been accused of being in a gang even though they were not. 71.43%. So a little more than 70% of Southeast Asian males said yes, they have been accused of being in a gang even though they were not in a gang. So we are talking about more than just Black driving while Black. And I think this is important because, again, this show is about news and informing, and our tagline is "The world is a big place with big ideas." So, racial profiling and the area of work, the work that you guys are working on, that you're going to be doing and continuing after this, there's a big world in terms of the racial profiling issues and communities being affected by it. Can you guys just tell folks one more time what they can do to contact you, to get involved in the campaign, to tell their own stories, and, what should people do? Again, you guys are all about action, so tell them what the next actions are.
One possible way is giving your photo with a picture saying, "Do I look suspicious or do I fit the description?" at ristopracialprofiling.com. And there's the video posted on there, and you can also give your testimony.
Great. Did you have some ideas as well, Nara?
Oh, if they personally want to see exactly what PrYSM's really working on, they can go and visit our office, which is at 669 Elmwood Ave, and they could stop there and they could get personal with us and talk to us about it, because we're welcoming and we're there to help not just Southeast Asians but other minorities as well too, those who experienced it.
Great.
We're also planning on putting together a workshop for other youth in Providence about the issue for sometime in March. So if you, if any of our listeners out there are involved in youth organizations or know of youth who would like to learn more about the issue and talk about how it's affected all of us, you can definitely get in touch with us through our website, or you can contact me personally at Franny, Franny, at PrYSM, PrYSM.us. But we're putting together this workshop with a lot of other youth organizations trying to build youth power in Providence around this issue.